I was right last episode. Last episode was episode 16. This is
Okay.
episode 17. Look at this. We hold our word. G2.
Nope.
This is funny. I kind of want to say, I'll hold a moment of silence. All right, a moment of silence is over. This is the part where we laugh.
Haha, G2.
I was ahead of you.
Awesome on you, G2, to make it to semifinals, but also he got dunked on.
Yeah, that's what happens when you take vacations and shit.
That's also what happens when you straight up don't prepare. I mean, I don't think they didn't prepare, but like,
No.
don't trash talk that
They
way.
didn't take a vacation. They obviously did prepare somewhat, but they were very
Demolished.
yeah, there you go. All things said and done.
Just as heads up as this episode starts, my name's Sebastian. We got Josh and Connor.
Hello.
We at the start at episode 1 said that we would get a jersey for whichever North American, European, or small region team that would get out of the groups. Caveat, TSM, Fnatic, and G2 had to make a semifinals. Guess what? Only one of those teams made that qualification. We upheld our bargain. We also talked about the general state of the World Championship so far, and we've been rather excited. And oh boy, the semifinals were nice and at the same time infuriating. Red Side has continued to prove my point.
Yep.
The team that wins Blue Side wins the entire thing. Have you seen since quarterfinals has happened? Every best of 5, the one team that wins the one game on Blue Side wins the whole best of 5.
That's actually hilarious.
That's
Red Side has something like a crazy win rate at this point. Let's discuss the semifinals. Immediate thoughts, you guys? What you?
The G2 Damwon game.
Mm-hmm.
Super cool. I liked the fact that it's been a little while, so like I have to like kind of recall what I was seeing. But there was a couple times where I was watching G2 versus Damwon where I was like, wow, that's aggressive. And then it wouldn't amount to anything. And I was like, see, this is why thinking that you're the best all the time can come back to bite you. Because there was lots of plays where, see, I know Perks was their mid laner for so long, so I keep wanting to say Perks, but it's not Perks, Caps. Caps would like go super buck wild on what was usually Silas, and he'd dive like 2-3 screens like forward past his team and then get blown up. And it was like, I'm like thinking there, like, okay, I get it. Like Silas does a lot of damage, but like you also kind of can't 1v3. So for me, at least, the moral of the story is being super aggressive. If you're a good team, is super easy to well, not super easy, but is possibly exploitable, and you can't just keep running your face into the wall and hoping it works.
This is also the series with the shortest game of Worlds history.
Yeah.
And TSM's been to Worlds, so that says a lot.
Yeah, I think we were saying before, it's like, yeah, G2 is individually skilled and they can make plays, and Caps can just style on people. Like, we've seen that, sure. But the second another team just matches them, like, can match them mechanically and, you know, and actually, like, play the game properly, air quotes, like, they lose. And that's what we saw here. It's just Damwon, okay, they can match up to them pound for pound or close enough, whatever, that doesn't even matter. And then just, you know, play the game in a more consistent, more stable manner and not make the same kind of mistakes. Like a lot of the things we saw in the series was just Damwon would just sit back, wait until one of the G2 players was out of position, or they missed an ability, or, you know, there's just they made a mistake, and Damwon was like, boom, pounce on that mistake, boom, pounce on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then G2, they have a tendency, which works for them a lot of the time, which is when someone makes a mistake on their team, you'll notice with G2, one player makes a mistake, the rest of the team backs them up.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go, oh, that's your fault, right? And this works all the time because they back them up. They play a lot of globals and stuff. It's like, oh, you made a mistake. Well, I'm gonna TF vault in to come help you out here, and Jungler's gonna run over and flash in. We're gonna back you up. And a lot of the time, since they're so good at just jumping in and saying, hey, we're gonna back you up anyways, they're able to then make their outplays. And so, like, yeah, that was the plan all along, right?
Yeah, where they go, haha, calculated, and
Yeah, like, no, it wasn't. So
I want to say that like G2 has the worst pick ban on stage. I don't care what their strategist does. The many interviews their strategist has, I think like, oh, this is pretty insightful. It's too bad you're never there on stage doing anything for it to like matter at the time. It's great that you have like small pocket strategies. But I bet you if she was actually the one on stage and not any of the bozos that were, I think they would have gone differently. I remember, okay, so the game that really like bothers me with this, right? We get to game 4.
okay,
G2 picks red side. So far,
Yep.
red side has won both sides, even though for the fact that Damwon being forced on blue side game 2 probably should have been then, but they fumbled and didn't play a 1-4-1 a 1-4 comp properly. That's whatever. People don't know how to play Fiora still. Shocker. But this game 4, they're on red side. G2 should have the advantage, right? Red side is the clear, obvious side winner here. And they're like, all right, Damwon picks Twisted Fate. And they answer Silas Graves. I'm like, all right, that's cool. That's a good answer. That's a good setup. Then they pick Kindred Caitlyn. I'm like, damn, that's a crazy pickup for first 3 from Damwon. Their answer is Ornn. I'm like, whatever. They do the bans. They're like, we don't want Camila Lulu from that side. Cool.
Mhm.
They pick Senna.
we're talking about the last game, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the last game. Connor, please explain to me why picking Senna when you already have a Silas Graves and Ornn is a really bad idea for the audience who might not know.
Well,
Explain
one
it
hand,
like
you
I'm
have
5.
Well, basically, you have no consistent damage. Really, like you have no ability to basically. Let's say you have a tank coming who's like, okay, this set who's got basically 2 health bars. Okay, you're trying to kill a set. Cool. So the Graves is gonna hit him with some burst damage, really. But like, Graves has to reload in his auto attacks. Like Graves does not do consistent overtime damage, right? Silas wants to jump a squishy target. He's not. Silas doesn't want to try to jump on a tank and hit him with a couple spells because it's not going to kill him. Same thing with Senna. Senna's going to like auto Q, maybe throw an ult in. Like it's just you don't have a reliable source of damage to be able to deal with the front line. Like, okay, sure you got CC, sure you got disengage, you got engage, you have stuff there, but you're looking at this team comp, it's like, okay, the Kindred can just survive the burst with his ultimate, and what do you have left? The Braum can block the initial or an ult or block the initial things. The set can just, put up his giant big shield to absorb stuff. And what do you have left? Right? G2's comp just needs to hit them once and goes like, yeah, you need to die on the first initial hit. And the second that doesn't happen, which, hey, look, it didn't happen.
A lot.
Yeah. G2 or Damwon would just barely survive, and G2 would have no damage left to throw at them.
The thing that like bothers me the most is that I probably would have slightly forgiven it if their last pick wasn't Nautilus. If you're gonna be G2 it all the fuck away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
give me a
like,
Pike.
Pike, exactly.
Because also, you know what Pike does though? He finishes off low health targets that just got hit by burst damage.
Fuck. Like this was like a fundamental thing where I was like, they clearly didn't understand what the pick ban was about for any of these games. Right? There's like game 3. They decide to pick Pantheon and Scion together in the end with the fucking Akali flex. And I'm like, do you guys not have an understanding of like sustained damage? And why is 3 out of 5 of your players have 0 presence in these games.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What is Wonder doing?
I just also thought
You
that it
want
was
to
really
look at-
weird that like you'd pick the Akali into, or sorry, what was picked first? Akali or hold on, let me just double
Akali
Yeah,
check.
was
they
the first pick after Graves and Syndra was picked.
Yeah.
Sweet.
So-
Okay, cool. So they picked the Akali into it. So first of all, if you wanted to pick the Akali, why didn't you ban Syndra? Because I feel like Syndra's pretty good at shoving lane, and Akali really isn't. But Akali also needs to be able to shove lane to roam. So if
And you can time your
can't
E to
shove
cancel.
lane because the other person shoves lane easily twice as better as you do, like
And
I
you,
don't know.
yeah, and you clearly decided to do this mid lane. Like if this was top lane and you picked something else mid lane, I'd be like, all right, cool, you're trying to be cheeky.
Mhm.
But they picked Sion after Lulu was picked.
Yeah. Honestly, the only good thing that the Scion did, at least in my opinion, was how they just kind of like destroyed
Existed.
Showmaker with one ult. Like that was cool, but like that should be the only reason why you pick Scion.
So I wrote down at one point in, I think it was game 2. Oh, yeah, on game 2 it was like, oh, Perks is playing this series. That's nice. And then it never happened again. Yankos every
Had
game.
0 kindred marks at like what 20 minutes game 3.
Yeah, it was 0
It was
marks,
bad.
13 minutes.
Yeah.
Wonder, literally 0 presence. I can't say anything bad about him because I didn't think he existed.
Mickey died like 5
he-
times.
He was like okay as the Camille, I think.
Yeah, that's great, but I didn't feel his presence in the game.
Sure.
I felt Fiora's trough because they misexecuted a 1-4. I didn't feel Camille's presence
Okay.
because the thing that was winning that game was Perks.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the Ezreal. That's the thing that was winning. It was the one time Perks actually had presence the entire tournament. The entire tournament.
And Nuggery's worst game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which tells me
I
easily
think he had like one bad game before, but yeah,
that
maybe it was
G2, you need to reevaluate what you think your team's identity is about. And from
Also,
what I
your
understand,
team identity can't be "we're good, so we're cocky." That's
and
a
from what I understand,
byproduct, not an identity.
what I think, from what I understand from a lot of tweets that came from this, is that a lot of people were convinced that might be this last time that this iteration of G2 exists.
Oh, you think they're blowing
But-
up?
but also like they made world semifinals. They can still say, "Hey, we're one of the top 4 teams in the world."
Obviously, like
and
no one's gonna
the
take
best
that away
team
from
in our
them.
region,
They
right?
made
So,
it.
like,
Sorry.
is
go.
it really a big like, oh, we need to go back to the drawing board kind of thing? But like,
Yeah, so this really depends on how they do it. Think
Yeah.
about it this way: there was a year Albus Lux Luna made it to quarterfinals out of groups. Do you really think that team was good that year? No, not
thought they were fine,
particularly. They
personally.
were fine. That's great. You made it to quarterfinals. Just because something works doesn't mean that it's good. And in a year of like where like things were super weird for every team in the world, just being content, not enough.
Mm-hmm.
They were one game away of being eliminated from group stage.
Yeah.
That's how close of anything was happening. They got extra lucky that G2 the Gen.G, sorry, literally just
Drop the ball.
dropped the ball heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Gen.G had a much cleaner record of performance the entire year coming into this best of 5 against G2. And yet, they come to this game, and nothing about the way they played looked good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, don't compare them to TSM. This is not all the same caliber of terrible. But when only 2 of your players clearly have, like, presence and influence in the game, and the second one of them is shut down, and the other one's a support, and they can't do anything with it, it makes it very clear to tell that you don't have any other markers of what to do.
Yeah.
You've got, like, 3 friends that set up for fourth carry in the support. You know the expression Chovy in wards? Well, this is Chovy and 4 super minions.
I agree with that.
And guess what? It's better than what a lot of other teams had to bring up. So kudos. Yeah, I will give it to you, G2. This year, you were a top 4 team. That's great. Not when it was like patch 10.16, but in patch 10.19 when everybody else was dropping the ball super heavy and you didn't. Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
can very
ball
much
dropping was delayed.
It was or delayed. Yes. I gotta say there's some interesting things they did. I appreciate the Lucian flex they put in. Too bad they did nothing with it. Again, because of Perks having no impressions at all. And we
Do
gotta
you
sing
think?
the praise.
Hold on, really quick question for you. Do you think Perks is a good AD carry?
No.
Do you think it's a mistake that he's an AD carry?
No.
Ooh.
Being a good AD carry is not the necessary foundations of how the game works. This is not 2014. Being serviceable is what you need to be. You need to be able to show that you have presence within the game. And in a meta where, like, at the time where he became an AD carry was when mages and flexibility needed to be a thing.
Mhm.
He had more of that and more presence at the time when he did it,
Completely agree.
and enough time and leverage to be able to pick up the rest of the mechanics for a traditional ADC
Mhm.
that he was able to be a middling AD carry that was good enough to pass most of anything. So, no, he's not a good AD carry in the foundations of professional AD carries. In fact, he's very much B if I was to tier him up. But no, it's not a mistake that he's an AD carry role.
All right.
In fact, I think that was, given the constraints that G2 had at the time, a pretty fucking smart decision.
I think it's a smart decision, literally just because they didn't do the TSM thing where it's like, let's let go of one of our best players to try out a new guy, and then that best player goes to win 4 championships for another team for 2 years. So, like, in that regard, I was like, yeah, sure, G2, smart. All right, cool.
So yeah, no. If anything, if Perks stayed AD carry, I wouldn't be upset by it.
All right.
I would rather, however, that Perks goes to another team, plays mid lane,
Mhm.
because he clearly can still play mid lane, or
Mhm.
Caps leaves and they put Perks back to mid lane and they get somebody else who, because by now a lot of AD carries have gotten the foundation of playing mages in the bot lane in case that is necessary.
Isn't
Yeah.
Caps technically a better mid lane though?
Wow, that's why I said like either Perks leaves or Caps leaves, either or.
No, but like, sorry.
The whole point was of like the G2 thing was saying like, hey, these are the 2 best players in Europe, quote unquote.
Yeah.
You know, we can get them on one team, and there's a big surprise
Yeah,
move.
that's very
right? So,
nice.
yeah.
But so far, the game is still focused on a role-based system and not on a champion pool-based system, which is my ultimate fantasy is that it's a champion-based system that the game will go to, where people
Yeah.
can play
So it's like,
any myriad of ways that you can play, and it's based off of champion
yeah,
dynamics.
I don't know why teams don't like rotate like that. So if you're like, okay, we want to play Shen jungle, and we're TSM, but like whatever, Broken Blade's actually our best Shen player and has the mechanics on Shen, so he'll play the jungle Shen, and Spica can
It
go
has-
play set top because he's already comfortable playing set. Like,
It has to do more with the fact that people don't know. It's a role-based thing instead of a
Yeah.
champion-based thing.
Mhm.
If somebody was a champion expert in all roles, like if somebody was like, "Hi, I can play Lucian in every role,"
but
and they're
like that's how solo
"Cool."
queue works. It's funny.
Yeah,
People
that's kind of how solo queue works. The issue
people are
is
like, I play Shen and I
Well,
do
that's how
so.
solo queue works up until about
Anyway.
like plat, and then you have to main something, otherwise you get flamed.
yeah, it's one of those things where like it works only so far, and if you don't have a wide enough champion pool where you're able to do that with enough roles, it doesn't work. You have to like. The goal would be like be Faker, have 93 champions in your champion pool with only 2 of them with a losing record, and you're like, cool, that's great. But
Goals, be
most
Faker.
people should have minimum for like bot laners. The minimum is all of the bot lane characters you can play, and that's like 25. Not a lot of champions. Mid lane minimum you can play 50.
Yeah.
Top lane is 75. you have to be able to play. But that's like role specific and not champion specific.
Yeah.
And that's part of the reason why I think it's better if Perks went back to mid lane, like either from a different team or on the same team, and one of the two has to go. I think both of them would benefit much more from both being in the mid lane with an actual ADC.
Yeah.
Shifting focus on Damwon, however, the absolute like restraint out of them is kind of crazy until game 4, you know.
Yeah.
I think it was really cool. They had pretty awesome vision, really good wave manipulation. Even the game they were losing, they were doing the 1-4 really well up until like the 20-minute mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then game 4 happens, and so I live streamed watching this series. And it's hidden somewhere in the system. Josh, if you want to find it, you can probably show my reaction.
Holy
Just like screen cap the face and put it in the corner if you want.
Sure.
what?
And like,
shit. What?
I think I'm like this. I'm like, I'm in the middle of my sentence and thinking about what to do, and like what anything is happening. I'm like, all right, so damn on the next thing you want to do. You don't want to get rid of this inhibitor, and then they do it. I'm like, all right, at this point, D2 is gonna have time to do it. And then literally 30, like within the midpoint of my sentence, I'm like, what? They're gonna end the game? What? This is by far the biggest styling I've ever seen, and it's not even from lack of respect. I think it's because they're like, wow, these guys are idiots.
So the way Herald works is it loses 50% of its current hit points per charge.
Mm-hmm.
Current. So
Can't
Herald
the
got the
charge
first charge
like
on the...
8 times before it gets blown on to die?
It'll technically never die if it never gets hit. It's just usually once it gets to low health, like a caster minion will kill it.
Yeah.
But it technically will never die just to a tower. Well, a tower shot will kill it, yes.
Yeah.
That's usually what hits it. Anyway. But other things to the tower aggro. So the Herald charges the inner tower. Cool. 2,000 health. Charges the inhibitor tower. Okay, maybe like 800 health. Fine. Cool. Charges the inhibitor. Has about, I think it was like 226 or like almost that exact number. Something like that. Yeah. Sure. That kind of number. It probably got hit by a mini or something, whatever. And at that point, even if it was like putting themselves in a position, they should have just like hit it with something. Like, what is their champion play? Okay, cool. You have a Graves. Like, hit it with a Q. Waste your alt to kill the Rift Herald at that point. Like, just make sure it dies.
Or Silas Q.
Like,
that has a decent range.
Okay, set a Q. Hit it with a set a Q. Boom.
You know what's the best part?
What?
The Kindred ult came in as it did its 4th charge.
So it didn't die?
Does Kindred ult keep it alive too?
Yes.
I didn't even know that. Oh my god.
It got a 5th charge through.
I know.
That's hilarious. I love it.
Wait, did Damwon purposely Kindred ult to save the Herald?
Fucking Canyon's
just,
Ross, bro.
That is insane.
If you have the chance, like, I'm gonna clap. Put in the clip of like what is happening in my reaction, and just show that exact moment. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
He Kindred ults to save the Herald to get it to charge again.
Like,
wow.
Oh my god.
At the moment, I'm just flabbergasted. And I saw on the replay, I'm like, they fucking Kindred ulted. Holy shit. It's that moment of like, oh shit, you can Kindred ult the dragon or a Baron. I didn't know that. And Nick Smithy's the first one to show it in North America. I'm like, wait, that's a thing you can do? This is hilarious.
I like it.
It's everything. Like, you can come in with a minion wave. Like, if you're trying to like backdoor as like Kindred, you can come in with a minion wave and like Kindred ult your super minion to keep it alive.
Yeah. It was kind of crazy. That was one of those things where I'm like, this is hilarious.
That's super cool. I like that a lot.
It went down to 46 HP and stayed there because that's the minimum threshold it needed to do. Otherwise, it would have died. And then it got healed to 158 HP and then just kept going.
So good. I forgot the Kindred ult also heals whatever's in it. That's so messed up.
That includes minions.
Oh
That
my
includes midgets.
god, that's so good.
It also
It's-
includes like Dragon and Baron technically, but it's like 250 base, right? So
So-
you don't really notice it as
See,
much.
I
but-
was gonna give Beryl my player of the series from that Braum play, but
No, it's
now knowing what I know now about the freaking Herald
Canyon.
Canyon, like I can't not do it. It has to be Canyon.
But also Canyon like almost single-handedly just won game 3.
That's also
well.
true. That's also true.
Like he just won every lane, and then
Oh my god.
So good. So good.
It's just but yeah, that's the thing I want to point out. If you have the chance, just literally when I said just put that in.
Yeah.
This is the one extra work. I think it's spot on.
I'll do it.
Oh, the last thing I wanted to mention while talking about Gen.G is I really like how they're not afraid to just blow cooldowns, especially their alts,
Mhm.
on just basically setting up, like not even necessarily on like taking the objective. It's like they'll be going for like to try to set up priority around Dragon, and they'll
Mhm.
just like blow their alts, pushing somebody away and getting them to back off, so that they can then set up the vision control, and then be in a better position to do the objective.
Mhm.
So it's like they'll just flat out, Graves will use his ult and these kind of things just to like get somebody down to 20% HP, even though he knows it's not going to kill them, just
Mhm.
to get them away, so that they can set up vision control to then do Dragon 30 seconds later. It's like we're not going to save these, even though you're going to probably try to fight us for this Dragon.
You're gonna fight us
We're
at
going to
half health.
extend our cooldowns to get priority, right? Because now if you back to get your health back, you're now going to miss the Dragon, right? The timing's there and stuff, right? So like,
Mhm.
so that's cool. I really appreciate how they were just like, yeah, we can just blow all their outs before the even actual fight. Flashes, like, doesn't matter. Like, but not a lot of teams, most people are saying like, hey, it's third Dragon, they're gonna fight us for it. There's gonna be a big team fight. Let's not blow our alts and not blow our flashes and these kind of things before the fight, because that's just silly. And that is, there's logic to that, saying, hey, there's about to be a fight, let's keep our cooldowns for that.
Mhm.
But just saying, hey, let's zone out their support so that they can't ward, so that they're in a worse position when we actually have to fight later.
There's
That's just
logic.
really
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
Yeah, you don't see that almost ever. So
And with that, we bid farewell to G2. Damwon
Alright, I wanna-
closes out the series 3-1.
also the
I went off
game
the-
board 12 minutes where it's the Caitlyn is like between two towers and like should be dead by like every rule ever,
Yeah.
and Braum walks up and just takes the tower shots and lets it hit him 3 times,
Mhm.
and then as the Braum is backing off the tower shot, Caitlyn then goes like heal flash over. You're like, wait, what?
That's what supports love to see, man.
Like the coordination it would have taken to be like, okay, now.
Yeah.
It's
All
so
right.
nice.
Do we get into the next game?
Sure.
Suning versus Top. Oh boy.
Let's let Seb appreciate. Let him give him a minute.
Ah!
You're gonna wake up your neighbors.
I've been excited since day one of their playoffs. They have a Vietnamese player in finals. They have a Southeast Asian in finals. Yes. Anywho, all right. So
That's
energy's out.
it's Sword Art, right?
Yeah, Sword
Yeah.
Art and SOFM. SOFM is Vietnamese.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So like, all right. So first things first. Here's my discretion here. All right, or
Discretion.
my discretion. That's not the discretion. That's not the word. My displeasure.
Sure.
Kick and bans are whack.
Sure.
At least the first 2 games, both sides, it's whack. And
Yeah.
then Top just keeps keeping it whack, and Suning is like, all right, we got it out of our system. But like, these are pretty whack.
Yeah, I agree.
Not only do they not play to what their team compositions are supposed to do, but they kind of like don't resonate with each other very well.
Yeah.
They pick very difficult compositions to execute, and none of them played blue side properly until game 3. No, it was game 4. Until game 4 when Suning played blue side properly. just to keep up the trend.
Yeah.
I think there's this weird reliance on burst on both sides that's really surprised me. And I think that it's like there's some decisions with these pick bans, like why would you pick Lee Sin? Why would you pick Orianna when you picked Lee Sin? When Zoe got picked up, it doesn't seem consistent with me. Why would you first pick Jin a bunch of times? This is always so early. Why would you do that? It doesn't have that much priority or like presence. It's why do you pick Jarvan in Game 4? That really surprised me. But also, and again, why do Game 4s do this? Top. This is my one last bit about picking bans. Top, you do this great thing. Ezreal's picked first, super early. Not a good idea from Suning. Whatever. You then pick Orianna Graves. That's crazy good. That's great. Allows zoning. Really great setup for Orianna for the Graves.
And we've discussed in a previous episode why Orianna Graves is the first that two of them combined kills anything.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Then the enemy picks Leona Akali. And I'm like, all right, Ezreal, Akali together is really early. Leona is really strong as far as we've seen. And your answer to that, Top, is to pick Ornn. And I'm like, fuck, this is a crazy core. You just pick like some nice sustain, and it's great. So far, the picking bans go as they go. They pick Ashe. I'm like, great. And then their response is Jax for the Ornn. I'm like, whatever. And then he picked Jarvan. I'm like, not a huge fan, but at least I can see what Suning's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then they pick Tahm Kench.
Mm-hmm.
Top.
Love it.
You literally submitted your resignation by picking Tahm Kench. And I'm going to explain it this time because this is not an obvious one, right? This one's not obvious, okay? When I saw this, I went, all right, you have great burst, lots of survivability, great engage, and you have your sustain that works out. And on the opposite side, you have a Jax, Jarvan, and Leona, which have some amount of like tankiness and survivability to them, and a lot of lockdown, like a lot of go lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
And so your response is like, cool, doesn't Tom like answer the go lockdown? And I go, no, it doesn't. It gives a big target on the Tahm Kench's back, and when he's dead from anything that is not the go from everybody else, because Akali got to them, which it did a lot. The Ashe has no answer. The Ornn's not gonna stop him. The Ornn's gonna stop maybe the Ezreal. The Orianna and Graves needs to burst something, but it's not gonna be able to do the Jax or the Jarvan. Oops. And they're not gonna be able to get close enough to the Ezreal because they have to get through a Leona and an Akali Shroud as the Ezreal is poking them forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then your answer here is, what would you pick in this scenario then? And I'm like, Lulu? Why in the goddamn fuck was Lulu not picked here?
Yeah.
You would add way more to Ashe's sustain damage. You would add actual survivability. It is much harder to kill a Lulu than it is to kill a Tahm Kench because
Mm-hmm.
Lulu has a lot more self-reliance.
Peel, yeah.
Right? A lot more peel, a lot more options. You extra supplement any of Orianna's utility with your own, so it makes it that Orianna's burst is also like able to compound with the shields. It adds more zoning tools, and your Ashe isn't going to be bursted in the second wave of engage.
Now, the problem is these two aren't played like at a really high professional level, but Jenna and Poppy, because what do you think
Caught
about
her with the Janna.
No, but when you think about specifically the three things it's good into is, okay, Akali can dash everywhere and whenever, so Akali, whatever. But the rest of their stuff, so Leona, Jarvan, and Jax all jump in with one ability on a at least semi-decent cooldown, right? Like Leona E's in. Like if Leona misses an E, she's at a bad position. If Jax, is knocked out of his Q, credit not that it happens because it's on click, but like
Mm-hmm.
Jax with his Q down, doesn't have a dash, he can't get to you. He can't land his stun if he can't jump to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what Janna specifically is the best at enabling is, okay, Leona dashes in and does her route, cool, go away, right? So if you push like 2 or 3 of those away, such a good position.
I would only agree if the problem here is that her laning phase and her early game isn't enabled by any roaming. Lulu can roam. You don't get that same effect properly with Janna, right? That's part of the reason why you don't see her as often as you would usually.
Yeah, at level 6 you can walk mid lane and ult people backwards, but
that's not much of a. That's a team fight reset primarily, not a not an engage or disengage tool, right? While as with Lulu, it is a disengage and a reset packed in one.
Sure, Lulu's the better competitive option. I totally agree.
Yeah. And this is the thing. Lulu was open. I was expecting a Lulu here, 100%. And then they picked Tahm Kench, and I've got 6 question marks next to it. You know, like if I put more than 2 question marks next to something, you really did something questionable. Yeah, when you got 6, you know you've done really questionable.
It's like
things.
you fucked up.
You fucked up. And then literally I'm like, well, Suning's punishing Tahm Kench pick early. And I'm like, wow. It's like it was absolutely useless, this game, because it was. Also,
why did top last ban Shen? Shen would also have been a good option. I guess they already had an Ornn, but like
it's because it would have been an answer to Ornn at that point.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying Shen in particular. Not that Shen support is played competitively per se as much, but
no, it's because they hadn't picked the top lane yet, and it would have enabled the Leona. It would have helped with the Akali also, and any other jungle option that they would have had. They would have been able to enable any engages or any disengages. It was a smart pick. Gangplank to avoid any 1-4 compositions or any answers. The ban, well, the Gangplank is questionable still. I put a 1 question mark, but it's because it wasn't like the greatest ban. I wouldn't have wasted it necessarily.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Senna ban or the Azir ban. Those weren't like.
They also could have just not picked Ashe into Akali and Leona.
No, I think that was fine with the core 3 they had. This was the good pick. Okay. Because the Akali Leona has to get through an Ornn Orianna Graves, and they picked the Ashe and like, yeah, cool. And I was like, so long as you pick something that helps with whatever answers you have. The issue here is the Tahm Kench, 100%. I can 100% guarantee this game goes differently if they have a Lulu.
True. But if you had like
goes to a game 5, like I guarantee this goes to a game 5.
Oh sure, Lulu's better, but like Sivir instead of Ashe or something.
They probably wouldn't have had the same ability. Okay. The Ashe enables a lot of utility in terms of vision. It has more consistent DPS over time. It resets more often. It has a lot more zone control. It also enables the zone control that Orianna and Graves pose, and it has a lot of follow-up engage that Sivir doesn't have. Sivir is an enabler of engage, not a follow-up to the engage.
We keep saying Sivir, and like I just don't think we're gonna see a Sivir. It makes me sad.
We're not.
It would have been reckless if anybody, since he's the Sivir player.
No, they literally was like, this was a near perfect pick bang out of top until like, you know, the Tahm Kench. If I guarantee they win game 4.
Oh.
And lose game 5 because Red Side keeps winning. But like,
do you really blame that much on the Tahm Kench? Wow.
Yeah, 100%.
All right.
100%. Like, did you see how long that game took? That game took forever.
Also, so
but
basically,
wouldn't the Tahm Kench be one of the only reasons why the Ashe didn't die more than she already did?
No.
Suning won that game, I'd say like by 4 minutes, because they went for a gank early, and got the Ashe. You say, okay, Ashe technically could have flashed the Jarvan EQ and didn't. All right, you made a mistake, but then you made one mistake and then you gave up first blood. It happens. Like it's not game deciding. Then they have a Tahm Kench with like 10% health, and their jungler walks in and they teleport. So Tahm Kench is not going to help you out. He's at 10% health. He used his flash and stuff. Like he's not contributing this fight. So you're now going in 2v3, which is a bad idea to begin with. You're also teleporting an Orianna behind them. So you're teleporting an Orianna into a position where now 3 people have a chance to be exactly where they want to be in respect to the Orianna and be like, okay, as soon as the Orianna shows up, 3 of us are going to be able to just jump on this Orianna. And then Suning teleported on top of that to become a 2v4. It's like, why is this a good idea? Then you're giving up like what, 3
Yep.
kills?
Here's the big brain analysis. Given this game goes as is and as late as it does,
Mhm.
what does Tahm Kench add to securing neutral objectives? What does it add to engages? What does it add to any damage or utility?
It adds to neutral objectives because you can like push in mid lane all the way to like their base and then ult back to take the Baron or something.
Wow, that's a really extreme example. That's interesting.
But you see people do it. Like they push a wave all the way through.
Yeah,
if like their
but-
top laner and Tahm Kench comes and then ults him back to help the team rush Baron down or something.
Now I want to ask the question: can Lulu do that and more?
Yeah.
Yes. Tahm Kench
It's
did
a
not
secondary front line.
Tahm Kench did not stop any deaths to himself or to his teammates.
Yeah, and like Hail of Blades, Tahm Kench can like put out some damage if he's able to like get the combo off on people. But like in theory, Lulu full combo can also hurt people. And you're building AP and you have like what 80% AP on the Q and stuff. So like yeah, full support Lulu between Q, auto, polymorph, auto, use your
There's
W for the damage. Like it does damage.
my point is that there was not enough crowd control tools. There were not enough disengage tools. There were not enough tools general for Tahm Kench. He's not tanky enough. Doesn't provide enough survivability. He did not neutralize anything that was offered by Suning. So yes, I 100% blame the Tahm Kench to the loss of this game.
All right.
If
I mean,
somehow
I blame the
explaining in depth how that's not possible, please do. I would love to know. But in no universe do I think that's the case.
I blame level 3, but yeah.
I
Because
don't
like at
think
that point,
it's from Tahm Kench when you have no other globals.
not only you down, they were down like 3 kills and 3 summoners and the reset timer and the wave priority. Like
Gold was even a 10 minutes. Oh,
sorry, they got the gold back.
yeah. This is the thing, right?
But-
At the end of the day, this game, they literally played this game as best as they could given the Tahm Kench. And I just think like if you don't have any other globals and Tahm Kench is your only global, what's the point of having the Tahm Kench?
Yep.
That's it. Every other game, however, the games that top wins, the one game that top wins. The one game that top wins
Was off the back of Lee Sin.
was off the back of Lee Sin. Yes.
That Lee Sin was so clean.
It was
like
just-
four people.
both Lee Sins this series super good. I liked seeing the Lee Sin play.
Yeah, but these are like 2 of the oldest, like most respected jugglers. Like
I also think it's kind of funny that Karsa copied SOFM's Lee Sin build.
It was
Well,
quite amazing.
it's
I
not
love-
his personal thing. Like Knight's Vow Lee Sin has been a thing.
No, but the tank Lee Sin is like a very SOFM thing. That's all.
It is, yeah, but like it's still a thing you do. Like when your team has lots of damage and you're playing Lee Sin.
I'm
it's
just
the late
saying,
game, you're like,
my
okay,
games
third
are full of Ghostblade Lee Sins, so
That's fair.
my games are very comparable to professional play. That's all.
Oh yeah. I think there's like some interesting things that are done on the pick and bans from some of these. They're just kind of messy early in. Like game 2, when Suning loses, they have a Bard Kindred, and I have mixed feelings. It's the circle testing, right? They're like on paper, it's a circle test. It's fine. It looks really nice. You got circles, overlapping circles. And I'm thinking, this is one of those ones that I'm like, I'm not too angry about. Because if done right, if somebody's being saved by a Bard ult and all of a sudden Kindred comes in and the Bard ult expires, you put the Kindred ult on top of it. Dials a lot of survivability. There's like a whole lot you can do with it. It has a much more laxed timing compared to like a Bard Galio. So I'm like, didn't hate it too much. I think first picking ADCs like Jhin and Ezreal is not a great time. If you're first picking Ashe, I'd have been like, that's understandable. You're trying to reveal nothing and you add sustained damage utility. But like Jhin and Ezreal are not the kinds of first picks you would do. There's like a lot of things here that I'm like, some of these is interesting. Like your set flex, that was cool. Top, that was a really neato, like switcheroo that you did.
Neato.
Too bad you didn't play it off very well.
Yeah, because
Caitlyn
both
Lux-
teams first pick Jin and then lost.
Yep. Caitlyn Lux with an Echo Renekton is ballsy as fuck.
Yeah.
And on their owns with other team comps, I would have been like, cool. But they weren't. They were as a 4. And they first picked Lee Sin, which I thought was ballsy as hell. There's a lot of like cool attitudes that come out of these pick and bans. They're just not like great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Caitlyn Lux. It's like you want to have a tank line with that, and maybe another source of damage. Like you can whatever. Like let's throw in a Kindred so we can save the Caitlyn if need be, and then like a
I mean, they already
a set
picked
and
Lee Sin
an
at that
Ornn or
point.
something, right? Like what I'm making up champions that we're not.
Yeah,
saying
at this
anything,
point, you're like,
Caitlyn Lux wants a front line and some disengage. You know what I mean? Like let's play around that, right? Like let's make a siege comp that can play front to back because we have our solid back line, our ability to like get the roots off and push back. Whereas like we're looking like Echo Renekton Lee Sin, it's like this looks like a dive comp, which is like, yeah, we're just gonna go in and jump on each other. And like with that, you'd almost want to see like, Rakan, and then maybe like an Ezreal who can be safe by his own. Something, like.
Oh, yeah.
Or,
So I think that's going to be the biggest difference maker now.
Yeah.
For the finals.
Are we moving on to predictions? Let's go.
Let's discuss more like the matchup.
That's
before
what I
we
mean.
predict.
Let's talk about the matchup and predictions and blah blah blah.
So I want to get your thoughts, Josh.
Yes.
Like stylistically speaking,
Yes.
between the two teams, right? I'm gonna reserve what I hope for, and I want to hear your thoughts on like who do you think has the advantage? Who do you think has like different advantages and what points? Like what is the thing you're looking for?
All right. Let me just go back here. Let me just look at the rosters so I can just get a little comparison here. Alrighty. So we got Damwon right here. Then we got Suning right here. All right. What do I think? So it's really weird, right? Because like I want to give, like, if you're gonna go like lane by lane or whatever, right? I want to give advantage to Damwon for top jungle, but then I remember shit, SOFM and Bin have just been nutty recently. So it's like on paper, if you think of this like pre-tournament results, you
Yes.
go like, okay, Damwon, yeah, Damwon, maybe Suning, Damwon. Like I think Barrel Sword Art, in my opinion, is a bit of a toss-up in terms of like who's better. But then like I don't know Angel too well, so I give it mostly to Showmaker. Like again, pre-tournament, I was like Canon Nuggery. Like Nuggery's literally the dude who got fucking coin banned, essentially. So like Nuggery's like king of BM / I'll do what I want and I'll still win. So it's just weird because like I would say Damwon wins in most instances, just pound for pound player wise, but like Suning's been good, man. Like I did not think Suning was going to be able to beat top, like at all. I was like, oh, too bad, the run's over, like kind of thing. So yeah, but then part of me now is kind of like thinking of, well, what if Suning are able to just tip the scales enough in their favor that it's enough to topple Damwon? Because if I remember correctly, Damwon has barely lost any single game this year, right?
In summer specifically, they barely
Summer
lost
specifically.
anything.
So maybe not this
Spring
year,
was a little bit more.
but summer's a
was a
long time. Summer's a long time. So like they haven't been behind really in like a long time. They're not used to
We
playing
saw them look bad.
behind. Huh?
We saw them look bad when they were behind. Yeah.
Yeah. So like they've only
Not that it's
been
fair.
behind like once or twice, I think, so far in Worlds. And like it's rough. So like part of me is like, well, if like there's a team that could do it, maybe it's Suning. So I'm leaning Suning now, like in my heart. But
In your
on
heart.
paper, I still think like it's hard for I can't like for real say that it's gonna be Suning because like I'm just like, but Damwon's so good.
So before you give a score and a
Yes.
prediction, I just wanted to get your thoughts. All right, Connor, your thoughts.
Right. Yeah. So we've seen Damwon on paper is like the most consistent team coming into World Championship, right? So we're saying that's more of an advantage in a best of one, more so because like okay, they're more likely to win like a single game. We saw them be really good to like making less mistakes themselves and kind of just reacting to their opponents' mistakes per se and taking advantage of them. But I think when it comes to Suning, hopefully they're not going to make as many. Like we saw the one game where Sword Art had like a terrible Nautilus game, and like that has happened, but it's certainly not on the level of most any other team. So like, I do still give the edge to Damwon on that. Bin's been super great, but then so is Nuggery. I mean, Nuggery's had one or two bad games. Like I feel like I'm very interested to watch the top lane going into this and the jungle, my two roles, just because all four of those players have been so good for their teams coming into this. Like even doing unique things, like nobody else, like they've been pulling off like some of these unique things that no one else has done, which is like Nuggery on like the Lulu and the Kennen top and these kinds of things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. The confusion is palpable.
You know, like Canyon's been so good, but like so is it about them. But they have like slightly different champ pools even too there. Like, you know, SOFM's like, okay, give me that Lee Sin if you can, and you know, we've seen them playing towards like the Graves and the Kindred, a lot of like the AD type junglers, whereas Canyon's done that, but I don't know.
Yeah. So here, do you want to hear my thoughts now before
Yeah.
I get everybody to give their score predictions?
Do it.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Do you know what this finals makes me think of? You two didn't get to like at all even witness any glimmer of this,
Okay.
and I only got to witness like a little bit of it after the fact when I started getting really into it. This is what I feel like the spiritual successor to Taipei Assassins versus Azubu Frost. Oh, and
Really?
that best of 5. If you guys get the chance, watch that best of 5. That best of 5 is hype as fuck.
Oh, I can't watch Pizza Feet League. I can't do it.
No, I it's so good. It's such a fun best of 5 to watch. It's also like the last time I think there's a Worlds tournament where in the finals people actually like /FF. It's pretty sweet. It's got some really nutty things that exist there that like to us are like, whatever, all right, cool, I can see it. Back in the day, nah. Anywho, so the reason why I mentioned this is because let's paint the timeline, right? In 2012, you've got your big names. You've got Korea and China are the first to come in for the first, like after a whole thing. Southeast Asia sends their things from GPL. You're like, all right, cool. WE gets beaten by Evil Genius Europe, or sorry, CLG Europe, because they turn into Evil Genius later.
Yep.
You have Moscow 5, which has been the scourge of Korean teams forever because they're nutty as fuck. You've got a Zubu Frost, and then you've got somehow out of nowhere, people are like, oh yeah, they're good, but they're not like quarterfinals or semifinals good. They come in, it's Type A Assassins. CLGU's like, oh, we know how to beat Moscow 5. Moscow 5 knows how to beat Korean teams. We're the last team to like have consistently beaten them. We'll just let Moscow 5 beat the Zubu Frost, and then we can beat them in the finals. It's Type A Assassins. It doesn't matter. They get wrecked by Type A Assassins. Nobody expected them to win. Move on, they get to the finals. The Zubu Frost wins miraculously against this European team that's cocky as hell, thinking they could beat a Korean team. Doesn't this sound familiar?
It does. I'm wearing it.
So, then you get to the finals, and everybody's like, ah, shit, nah, it's fine. The Zubu Frost is going to beat them. Easy peasy. Clean sweep. Type A Assassins bring Southeast Asia to the map. And they win one! And it's hype as fuck! And I'm here going, Suning, you have a Vietnamese and a Southeast Asian player. You have the heart and soul of Flash Wolves, the spiritual successors to Type A Assassins in your roster.
Yeah.
Is it? Is this like?
Is this it?
Am I getting 2012 vibes? This is cool. This is all right. So this is me doing the story part of it.
Mhm.
This is the next thing I want to talk about. Everyone slept on Angel. I went back and looked at my notes on Facebook from when I was describing all these games, and I'm like, holy shit! I was so excited for Suning until they got absolutely dumpstered on by Top. And then I was like, Top is the favorite of this tournament. Down by far. Easy peasy. Then Damwon was the more consistent. I'm like, all right, I have to acknowledge, on paper, Damwon's the one that's going to win the tournament. You can't fault the team that has been the most consistent out of every single team around the world to improve from spring to summer and have gotten the better handle on how to do pick bans, on how to execute their level ones, on how to like set up for neutral objectives. And they've got like spunk and attitude.
Mhm.
And it's a fun team to watch. Then you get to the other side. You got Suning. You've got poor kid from the slums. In like a year becomes pro. Hong Fong. That's a great storyline. You've got Sword Art, been trying to play professionally forever. His team in Flash Wolves dissolves completely and he goes to China to follow Karsa. Beats his old teammate. They hug it out in tears. That's a great storyline. You've got Angel, the mid laner who's been like shadowed by the two mid laners of cafe drama. And he's like, no. I'm the one that's coming in. And honestly, Bin and SOFM have been like the two coolest combo that I've seen out of the top lane.
I'd agree with that.
They bring they bring it like a certain amount of swag to their play that I don't think a lot of other teams have brought in. And it doesn't come off as like cocky.
Mm-hmm. It's just like skill.
It's just straight up skill. And if they clean up their pick and ban, I could see them win. Straight up. They are not as clean. They're definitely rougher around the edges here. They are inconsistent in terms of their neutral objective control. Unless they're on red side, in which case it's crazy. But they're not going to get red side very often. And if they do, it's because Damwon is beating them on blue side much more often. And then we know that's a decision maker here. And their greatest advantage is the way that they like bait people into fightings. And unfortunately, Damwon does not take baits.
Yeah.
They create fights. Now, Big Brain Me is saying Damwon wins. I'm not letting my brain go with this one. Big Brain Me was like, yes, Suning's better than JDG, hands down. Everything from China shows me that. Everything from the tournament shows me that. I don't know what everybody else is seeing. They're completely delusional. Perfect. I'm right about that. They get to top, and I'm like, I can't justifiably say they're going to win. They're going to lose 3-0. I even said that. I've
You did.
never been happier to be so wrong in my life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice day.
So now you're drinking the Kool-Aid and you're just going in.
I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. So this point, now I'm going to get you guys to say your scores
Mm-hmm.
and what your predictions are in order, and I'm going to write them down.
Well, I'm gonna poo-poo on this. I think it's gonna be Damwon, but because I want it to be, it's going to be Silver Scrapes.
Ooh, okay. So, G, Suning,
I think this is the year that Korea comes back to dominance, comes back to their number one seed.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's cool either way because we have one of two options. We either have Sunyin coming in as this new team and like the new players and like these kind of things. We have like cool storyline there, or we have the return of Korea. So either way, it's cool. So either we have this Korea coming back and it's like, okay, cool. We're not like China's guaranteed number one anymore. It makes it more interesting in the future, saying like it's not just like whatever is the top Chinese team just wins.
Mm-hmm.
But if it is the Chinese team, which is what people expected going in, it's the it's not just the top seed Chinese team. It's like, yes, this is the new players, the Vietnamese and the Taiwanese players coming in with the Chinese rookies. Like, that's cool. Like, for a Chinese team to win, this is definitely the most interesting storyline for sure. And you've already talked about that, so I won't get into it. I was going to, but you already did, as I figured. Yeah, so it's like it's cool either way, right?
What do you think your
It's
score is
nice.
going to be?
I've been wrong on so many things so far. You know what?
Do it, Connor.
I'm gonna do it. Suning 3-1.
Oh,
Ooh.
I'm doing it.
Okay.
I've been sticking with like what I'd like to see more than like this is gonna happen. Like when I had TSM getting second out of groups, it wasn't like a TSM's gonna go second. It's like if TSM's getting second, this is how it's gonna happen. And this would just be cool. So like,
So you guys asked, am I drinking the Kool-Aid? I'm not just drinking it. I'm drowning in it. I'm going 3-0 Suning.
ooh.
They're going to stomp them. Let's go. I don't actually believe that, but that's what I'm predicting. That's what I want.
you went like what I did, except even more. Oh, that's great.
Honestly, 5 games would be hype as hell. But I want Suning to win this so badly. Okay. So, just so you guys know, as an update to the score and our predictions, and I've messaged this to you guys, but this hasn't been mentioned yet in this episode.
Okay.
The score right now is Connor has 29 points.
Mm-hmm.
I have 29 points.
Mm-hmm.
Josh has 26 points.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Josh, if you get perfect, you still lose.
Yes.
That's sad.
Now, that's sad. Fuck that. I'm saying if you get perfect, you get 4 points.
This is worth double. Yeah, that makes sense. It's reasonable.
If you get the right score, you get 1 point. If you get the right team, you get 1 point. But if you get all of it, you get 4 points.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So if my 3-1 is perfect, what was Josh's prediction?
His is 3-2 Damwon.
Okay, so if he's right.
If he's right, then he wins by 1 point. And I feel like that is the kind of clutch we need.
Yeah.
All right.
We should update our pick'ems.
We should. That's right.
Oh.
I'm picking Suning to win. It's happening. I feel it in my bones. And this is the first time I've switched away from a decision. Also, for the pick'em score, just so that we know so far what it looks like.
Yep.
I have 60 points. Josh has 51. Connor has 50.
Hey, but I got the achievement for hitting 50 points.
We all did.
So, like, I hit it. I got the icon.
Look, if I'm right with this next prediction, I get the last icon. I get the profit one.
Oh.
You know, that'll be nice. Just personally.
Yeah.
So that's
Pretty good, pretty good.
pickups. Now, I want to. This doesn't happen very often in finals, but sometimes it does. Right? Do you think there's going to be a crazy pick that happens?
Siver.
Okay, that's it.
If there's gonna be a crazy pick, I think it's gonna be. I don't know what. I can't say what it's gonna be, but I think if someone's gonna pick something crazy, it's gonna come from SOFM or Bin. So I think it's gonna be topside.
Okay. I think this will be the series that breaks the red side wins curse.
Okay.
Okay.
That's the one thing I'm expecting. I think Damwon gets pick of the first game because they're technically the highest seed.
Yeah. All right.
So if you see Damwon on red side, but Suning wins blue side, who knows? The last thing I want to mention here. We all try to predict who would win the whole thing at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You two pick top. Womp womp.
Womp womp.
Suning decided to shit on everyone's hopes and dreams except for 12 people. In the entire world.
Wait.
Literally, there's only 12 people. Who's got the perfect score so far
Oh, okay.
in pick'ems?
But that's like last year was like one person got it.
Last year there's only 2, and
Okay.
I think they both
Yeah.
picked the same side. This year there's 12, and then I picked Damwon to win the whole thing, and then I'm jumping ship from that.
Yep.
I think that's funny. I just want to make that point clear from like 4 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was fun. I'm going to try to get a Suning jersey and live stream the event. I've got somebody that's likely going to come over. I'm going to watch with them. I'm going to try to live stream. I'm going to like talk with them and everything. That'll be nice.
Yeah.
If either one of you are up at that time, I know Josh,
Yeah,
that's not
let's do it.
possible for you particularly because sleep is necessary.
If I'm up, I'm literally going to be sitting with like a tea and like quietly watching. I'm not going to be in the mood to talk.
And if Connor, you're up, beautiful.
Yeah. It's Saturday, right?
It
Saturday morning?
is Saturday. It's on Halloween.
Yeah. I'm having a Halloween party that night, so
Really
it'll be a long day,
nice.
but screw it.
Yeah, it's the Worlds. I'm gonna be up at 5 a.m. Turn on
Worlds!
It's Worlds. I gotta say, this has been some of the best fun. I know we're gonna do an episode afterwards, being like, guys, retrospective of the year. How awesome was that game? Or if it's another year, we're like, oh, why was it so sad to watch the finals? I hope it's not. I hope it's exciting.
I just
don't
want
care
silver
what the
scrapes,
score
bro.
is.
That's all I want. That's all I want.
There's only been a silver scrapes in one
I know.
Worlds. It was like Korea versus Korea. I'm really excited. But yeah, no, this has been an awesome time doing the podcast with you two.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do more after Worlds if that's possible. We'll see
Yeah.
what kind of schedules and
Yeah,
shenanigans
even
happen.
just every once in a while, like let's.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm probably going to be following not Western regions because that really hurt my soul doing that. Look, North America was really bad to watch, and the fact that their playoffs was better than Europe's shocked me.
I thought
But
North America was
that
fun
might
to
not be a
watch,
bad
though.
idea because Josh, we can come in and like you and I can talk about some North American and European games, and if Seb wants to say like, and here's what's happening in China this week, like that's
Could be possible, but that's stuff to talk about when we're not recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
Uh,
But our viewers might be interested. If you have opinions on that,
All
Let us hear.
12 of them.
would you like to hear about maybe like all 4 major regions? Like a week,
who knows?
let us know. Yeah.
And honestly, I didn't think the prediction game would be this close. The fact that Connor comes out of nowhere with this like crazy oversweep with the one group stage,
One
Mhm.
perfect round.
one perfect round,
It's all you needed.
and now you're tied for first.
I've been slightly worse at everything else, but the one perfect round caught me up. Yep.
The pick'ems is any indicator. And because I know we're going to do a year review after this, I want to talk about what is your one favorite moment so far this Worlds?
Ooh.
So not in the year review, in Worlds?
Yeah, in Worlds right now. Like it doesn't have to be an in-game moment. It could be any kind of moment, an out-of-game moment, Twitter moment, anything.
I'm trying to think of like the outplays and stuff that's happened.
The Cassidon and the Pleiades. But that's pretty
Cassidon
good.
and the play-ins was pretty fun.
That
was pretty
the
nutty.
FlyQuest beating top.
Actually, yeah,
That was-
that's going to be my moment. FlyQuest beating top was like,
Ooh, can we talk about how both North American teams
took games off the top 2.
took games off the top 2 Chinese teams?
Yeah. Also, it was our third and second seed.
Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it.
Let's not go back to that again.
I think that's exciting. There's somebody on Twitter thread that said, like Team Liquid has a better winning record against Suning than any other team.
That's kind of true.
Because what, they're
Don't
1-1?
To that, don't read too
No.
much to that.
Oh, nobody else is 50% win rate?
Yeah.
No, everybody else is a losing win rate.
Yeah, it's funny.
G2 is like a 1-2 record.
Yeah, it's true. That's funny.
Honestly, my favorite moment at Worlds was right after Suning and Top played. Sword Art and Karsa. Sword Art leapt in Karsa's arms and hugged him, and they both cried in each other's arms, and they broke the fist bump rule because they're
Mhm.
not supposed to like do any extreme, but like I think everybody let it slide because of like how emotional that particular series
At least
was
for on
them.
camera. If they got fines or something like that afterwards, I wouldn't be surprised. But
Yeah, but like I think that would be worth at that point.
yeah,
But also, the whole point of the bubble is that the whatever 100 people in that bubble are all like, yeah, if one person in this bubble gets sick, we know who the other 99 people in that bubble are.
yeah.
That's the
Well,
point of it.
So like the difference though is that like this isn't a situation where people need to be touching each other like the NBA bubble. Like the NBA bubble, like you're gonna be touching the ball and like everyone needs to touch the ball. It's part of the game. You technically, if we weren't like super like bent on showing sportsmanship and stuff like that, literally the games could end and both teams just go to their separate lockers and that's it.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's anyway. I'm not trying to like poo poo on it, but I'm just saying like that's.
I think that was a nice. I almost cried.
Oh no,
What?
it's
Like-
super sweet. Like it's don't get me wrong, it's super nice.
Well, they played together for years and years, right? Like they're
Because there's like a whole thing about like the right before
Yeah.
the series happened, they had like the teaser, and Karsa's like, both of us had dreams of winning world championships and getting a skin, and now one of us gets 2. And I was like, oh no, that's
That's like-
so sick.
That's like anime like arc right there.
but like they played together for how many years? Like 6 or something?
something like that.
Like,
Something stupid.
4 years.
okay, well, a long time, right? And like they both went over stuff. So like, yeah, that's reasonable.
There's somebody tweeted out like Damwon Gaming and Suning look like a Haku arc I don't know if any of you know what Haikyuu is.
I just know lots of memes because of TikTok, but I don't know the actual anime. I just know
So
it's
it's a
about high schoolers and
volleyball.
volleyball.
It's a volleyball sports anime where there's not like where every team that like they highlight, they all have their own personal emotional arcs, and nobody's happy when one team loses.
Mm.
Everybody's happy when the other one team wins. This is one of those things where like there's like heavy anime arcs from both sides.
Yeah.
You've got the hungry team that worked so hard, and then you got the other one that's got like so much emotional heart extra added onto it. Like you can't not root for either of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's years where you're like, all right, I get it. If some of you are sick of like SKT slash or T1 getting to Worlds and then making it to the finals, all right, I get it. You're not as hype as you were the first 3 times.
Yeah.
Or if you're like, Korean final, that's not cool, whatever. It's or when it was like G2 versus FPX, people weren't as hyped for G2 because everybody expected G2 to win, but there was some hype for FPX. This time it's hype on both sides.
Yeah, I like it.
There hasn't been hype on both sides since 2013.
It's been a while.
It's been
All right, let's wrap it up.
yeah.
Sure. I mean, we
let
were
us
still pretty hyped about Samsung Blue.
I did because I freaking loved Samsung, man. Oh, they were amazing.
Yeah. So like we were hyped for that. But yeah.
Let us know in the comments your favorite moments at Worlds so far. Thank you all of you who watched. We really appreciated it. We're probably going to make more stuff. We're going to definitely have one more after this. I'm going to live stream on the channel for the finals. It'll be sick. Leave a like and subscribe if you have the chance. We appreciate it. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye.